Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Opposition blasts Health Ministry over death of 4-year-old girl. NHD begins paying out refunds to contributors. And later in sports, Dwayne Dillon to return as General Secretary of CASAFA. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sandy Williams. Here are the details. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions will be seeking the death penalty in the case of Travis Ellis, the man charged for the murder of retired journalist Barbara Gale. Ellis is appearing before the Home Circuit Court. The 77-year-old retired Gleaner journalist was killed at her home in Caymanas Country Club Estate in St. Catherine on December 17. The St. Catherine South Police charged Ellis with murder and robbery with aggravation on December 24. The opposition spokesperson on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, is urging the Ministry of Health to take a more compassionate and transparent approach in the case involving Alexandriana Jones, who died at the Bustamante Hospital for Children. Dr. Dawes says the ministry also needs to be more forthcoming about the state of healthcare in Jamaica.
4-year-old Alexandriana Jones died in December following an emergency surgery at the Bustamante Hospital for Children. Her grieving family is now seeking clarity on the circumstances surrounding her death, raising serious concerns about the hospital's handling of the situation. In response, the Bustamante Children's Hospital says it is doing an internal investigation to review the circumstances surrounding the case. The hospital's leadership said it had also contacted the family involved, offering guidance on the matter. But opposition spokesman on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, is now blasting the statement as insensitive and lacking substance.
The ministry has yet to address a critical allegation raised by the family that their daughter had passed long before they were informed. Let me be clear. Confirming or denying this does not require the family to submit a formal written request, as was stipulated by the release. It requires compassion and urgency. Instead, the ministry's response has been cold-hearted, devoid of empathy, and has only deepened the trauma for all involved.
Dr. Dawes has expressed outrage that Bustamante Hospital for Children, despite its reputation as a leading institution, lacks a critical diagnostic tool such as a CT scanner.
This unacceptable gap in resources creates preventable delays that cost lives. I ask, how many more lives will we lose before the ministry prioritizes patients and staff over costly, delayed infrastructural projects that seem to benefit no one?
He is calling on the ministry to provide a clear and timely explanation about the circumstances surrounding the little girl's death.
The ministry has a moral obligation to provide clarity about the circumstances of Alexandriana's passing and to ensure that her family and our country receive a full and honest explanation. This is not just about one family's tragedy. It is about the standard of care that every Jamaican child deserves. The time for action is now, and anything less than full transparency and decisive action is unacceptable.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
Port Maria Mayor Fitzroy Wilson has admitted that the St. Mary Municipal Corporation made an error that left several workers unpaid for their services during the Christmas holiday. Speaking at Thursday's meeting, Mayor Wilson expressed regret over the situation, noting that it had significantly impacted many individuals. He emphasized that the corporation should have taken greater care to ensure that all workers were properly compensated for the work done.
Not to put blame anywhere, but next time we need to put things in place to make sure that we mitigate against a reoccurrence of what happened this Christmas period. You know, it would have been a terrible period in that we must organize that our payment structure, our payment dates be organized earlier so that payments can be made way in advance of our Christmas period.
The mayor clarified that the issue was not related to financial constraints or a lack of funds. According to him, initial plans had been made to disperse payments on December 16, 17, and 18. However, these arrangements were altered during a council meeting that he was unable to attend.
On my return, I realized that it was changed to 20th, 21st, and 23rd. And no communication was made to me about that, because I would have strongly insisted that we don't go that route.
Mayor Wilson reaffirmed the corporation's commitment to resolving the matter and ensuring that similar issues do not arise in the future. The Port Maria mayor has extended condolences to the family, friends and colleagues of a nurse who tragically passed away on Wednesday. The nurse, who was employed at the Port Maria Hospital in St. Mary, collapsed suddenly while in a haberdashery. A video circulating on social media shows the woman shopping before collapsing to the ground. Several bystanders rushed to her aid, but despite their efforts, she later died.
I just want to, on behalf of the Municipal Corporation, extend our sympathy to the staff at the hospital and also the bereaved family of this nurse. She would have been somebody contributing to our parish, to our country, to our people. And when this happened, we know that the entire St. Mary and the hospital fraternity is in mourning, so we mourn with them.
Chairman of the National Commercial Bank, Michael Leachin, is urging councillors in St. Ann Municipal Corporation to put politics aside and focus on driving growth in the parish. Speaking at the corporation's latest monthly meeting, Mr. Leachin emphasized the importance of unity and collective efforts in achieving this goal.
What are the frictions keeping growth away from us? What are all the frictions? And we therefore should commit to removing those nodes of friction. Make sense? Secondly, what horsepower do we need to now imbue growth? Because we can remove friction and get more horsepower, growth will come naturally.
He also said by doing so, the parish can unlock its full potential and benefit its residents.
We are in a position, we have been voted in by our people, and they have high expectations of us. They say, I'm putting you there to represent me, to do the best job you possibly can, and not do the best job that is a local standard. To do the best job that is the best in the world standard.
Mr. Leachin was also presented with the keys to the parish of St. Ann. This was presented to him by Mayor of St. Ann's Bay, Michael Ben Levis. It's now time for a break, but stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News, and thanks for staying with us. The National Housing Trust, NHT, says it has begun refunding contributors up to 2017. Assistant General Manager at the NHT, Dwayne Burbick, says the payment started on Tuesday. He says the NHT has received over 70,000 applications since January 1. It represents a more than 100% increase in the number of applications compared to the similar period in January 2024, when just over 30,000 contributors applied. As at Wednesday, the NHD processed payments for up to 40,000 contributors. Another 33,000 payments are expected to be processed by next Wednesday, January 15. The NHD says refunds can take up to 2 weeks after an application has been received. The tourism minister has commended the work of S Hotel and other businesses in contributing to the growth of the sector. He was addressing a recent function acknowledging S Hotel as the best all-inclusive destination in Jamaica.
Notwithstanding 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth in tourism arrivals, today we are closing the year just about 0.5% better than the best year in our history.
Meanwhile, he noted that the country is on track to meet its target to earn $5 million from 5 million visitors in 5 years.
In 4 years, notwithstanding COVID, we are 4.3 million of the 5 and 4.5 billion US of the dollars.
Relief is on the way for the aging water infrastructure in some communities. Water Minister Matthew Samuda, who recently speaking in Kingston, says many housing schemes built in the 60s and 70s are in dire need of pipe upgrades. To address this, he says the government has devised a plan to assess these communities and bring their water infrastructure up to speed.
Many of those communities also have road degradation, which the Prime Minister is addressing through the Spark program. As a component of the Spark program, 5 billion Jamaican dollars has been allocated for upgrade of pipe work within the communities along the roads that will be upgraded. The Water Commission has the list from NWA. We're coordinating very closely, and we're ensuring that before those roads are paved, we relay the pipes to make sure that the age-old comment of road pave and NWC dig up is a thing of the past.
Mr. Samuda says the team has successfully completed the first phase of procurement for a national non-revenue water reduction partner. This marks a crucial step towards reducing water losses and improving the overall efficiency of water supply systems.
Now, I mentioned the fact that we'd done non-revenue water work in Kingston, and we'd brought our water usage from 55 million gallons down to 37 million gallons. We are going to do the same nationally. And this will involve significant upgrades of our distribution network right across the country. Now, that will be a 10-year program. But we've completed the pre-qualification of our bidders, and we are going through our international tender procedures to ensure we are able to conclude the transaction period and get started. That will significantly benefit communities like Denham Town, which have significant leakage, communities like Arnett Gardens, where the pipes are aged and need to be changed.
It's now time for the Business Minute.
The Agro-Investment Corporation and the Coconut Industry Board have teamed up to provide critical support to the coconut industry's recovery efforts following Hurricane Beryl. Through the Alliances for Coconut Industry Development for the Caribbean Phase 2 initiative, small-scale farmers will receive essential inputs like fertilizer. This collaborative effort aims to improve the industry's integration into local, regional and global markets, ultimately benefiting coconut farmers and the broader Caribbean economy. The highest court in the USA could decide the fate of TikTok. The Supreme Court agreed to expedite the video sharing platform's First Amendment case. Arguments set to start at 10 a.m. Friday are expected to last more than 2 hours. At issue is a ban Congress passed in April. It requires TikTok to either shut down or find a new owner. The ban enjoyed bipartisan support on national security fears surrounding the app's Chinese ownership. Now, the court will consider whether these fears outweigh TikTok's First Amendment rights. The app is currently facing a deadline of January 19th before the law kicks in. For the Business Minute, I'm Hal Shane Burke.
And here's Raquel Porter with the top regional and international stories.
The Trinidad and Tobago Police Force has reported significant success with the ongoing state of emergency, which was declared on December 30. Since then, they have made 360 arrests and conducted targeted raids, resulting in the seizure of 22 firearms, 818 rounds of ammunition, and approximately 84.5 kilograms of drugs. It says 40 of the detainees are believed to have ties to criminal gangs. The police force is committed to utilizing the powers granted under the state of emergency to crack down on criminal activity. And the death toll is rising as wildfires surround Los Angeles. Officials warn the actual number of fatalities will remain unclear until investigators can safely enter the fire-ravaged neighborhoods. Officials say the Palisades and Eaton fires have destroyed at least 10,000 structures. The Palisades blaze is the most destructive in county's history despite better weather yesterday. The county sheriff says about 180,000 people were under evacuation orders as of yesterday, with even more facing warnings. Many who flee will find destruction when they return. And those were the top regional and international stories. I am Raquel Porter.
We head to a quick break, but stay tuned. When we come back, we'll have the Midday Sports Report.